What is good, everybody? Welcome into the Friday episode of the Coach and Company podcast. We are here 3 to 5 times a week to support our morning show, which is on Stadium, Valley Sports Live, YouTube, social media. We're available in over 100 million homes. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube page, I encourage you to do so right now. If you're listening on audio, in our partnership with Believe, we appreciate you listening to us there as well. We have a ton of content every single day coming out of BTT Studios. We have 2 different YouTube pages. If you prefer pro wrestling content, we have plenty of that for you as well. You can watch on demand the Coach and Bro Show, or if you're driving around in your car, you have the app on Sirius XM. I have my own pro wrestling daily radio show. 2 to 4 Eastern time on channel 156 Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. Now, here on this podcast, we never go longer than 20 or 30 minutes. It's rarely sports betting related. We love to just talk sports here, and hopefully you guys like to listen to it. Now, coming off last night, topic number 1, Thursday night football. And it told me a lot when you're talking about the Commanders and the Packers. I have a Thursday night spot on BetMGM tonight. And last week, I said that my NFC pick to go to the Super Bowl was the Green Bay Packers and not the Philadelphia Eagles. And when I watch how Green Bay beat Detroit on Sunday and then came back last night to beat the Commanders, that's exactly what you want a Super Bowl team to look like. Yes, they scored 27 points last night. I think that was the amount, they maybe 24, whatever it was. The 2 weeks in a row, they were right in the middle of the 20s, but their defense, they're the story. They spend $47 million a year, $188 million total to bring in Micah Parsons. His back's hurt. He's going to have injections. And all of a sudden, he puts on a Green Bay Packer uniform. He looks healthy as hell. Now, they've done a really good job because if you dive in deep like we like to, then you see that Micah was not on the field for his normal allotment of plays. They're easing him back into it so he can get his sea legs underneath him and his game legs. Now, on the other side of the field, you had Terry McLaurin. They're unfortunately having to do the same thing. So on some big time moments last night when they cut it to 1 score, you would think you would lean into your all pro caliber wide receiver. Well, for a lot of those big plays in the second half, he wasn't even on the field. So how do you go to him? And then you've got these other players like Debo. Now he's going to be, double teamed. Then unfortunately, when the game is out of hand, but you still have a puncher's chance, you've got Austin Eckler in the game and he goes down and he's the ultimate team player. He's the ultimate team glue guy. Now he's out. His career might be over. He was already at the tail end of it. And you talk about the ultimate underdog, the ultimate undersized guy, the ultimate gentleman. That's who Austin Eckler is. And a torn Achilles is, in my opinion, for a speed guy, a quickness guy, a running back, a skill position, the worst injury that you could possibly have. And you throw in the fact that you are north of 30 years of age, well, now that's a problem for the rest of your career. Because what goes with a Achilles injury is that quick back and forth, that quick change of direction. And that's Austin Eckler's game. And last night, it's never like this ugly injury. It's never that way when it comes to an Achilles. It's always usually non-physical, non-contact. And last night was the same thing. And just several injuries. You hate to see it. You want the best players to be able to play. Reed on the Green Bay Packers side, he catches a touchdown. It's called back because of holding or some penalty, and he stays down. And he gets up. The crowd goes bananas because they need him. They don't have a lot of big-time weapons. Romeo Doubs is like their guy. Now Tucker Kraft, their incredible tight end who caught a touchdown last night, he is now their guy. He's awesome. He is awesome. But Reed, all of a sudden, they're cutting to video of him walking underneath the stadium, and he can't even walk with a broken collarbone. Think about that for a second. A broken collarbone, so severely painful. He kept stopping with that like overhead ring camera. You feel awful because he's already dealing with a bad ankle. He's had other issues in the past, and now a broken collarbone. And that's going to be probably a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks, if not longer. So the Packers improved to 2-0. The Commanders fall to 1-1, and the other upside to winning on Thursday night is that you get that 10 days off, almost like an extra bye week with the dub, which is awesome. And the Packers, I think they're going to be a tough out this year. They're really going to be a tough out because through 2 games, or what I saw in week 1, Detroit, they already trounced them. Chicago had a double-digit lead. They couldn't do anything in the second half. That's their norm. And then you got the Minnesota Vikings that J.J. McCarthy looked really good on Monday night, but he is still a rookie quarterback. And I have seen more rookies than not have some good games, and then they will have off games, subpar games. So I would put my money on a franchise quarterback named Jordan Love. He's got his money. He's got his bag. He was able to sit behind Aaron Rodgers, and now he looks the part. He looks like a quarterback that could lead a Super Bowl champion team. That's how good I think this guy is. So congratulations to Green Bay and the Packers. Now tonight, and this is what I love football season. I know a lot of you out there do as well. You're watching right now Coach and Company podcast presented by Afterburn, in theaters next Friday, September 19th. I love Friday night games. And tonight there are 2 that have some pretty big brands in them, even if the teams have not been great thus far here in 2025. One of them is Colorado out of the Big 12 taking on Houston out of the Big 12 as well. And it's funny because when you go into the matchups, Houston is 2-0. They're laying 3.5 tonight against Colorado, who's 1-1, but they're already on their 3rd string quarterback. But do not ask Deion Sanders about his quarterback situation because he either doesn't think there's anything wrong or he doesn't want to address it. And it's amazing to me as I was looking at this game, but really at the storylines more than the game, because the last couple of years, Deion has basically turned Colorado into a pro team, into a celebrity-driven team. Some of the coaches he's putting on the staff had issues other places, and he's like, you know what? You're my friend. I'm going to hook you up. Warren Sapp, I'm talking about you. So he is trying to be positive around the entire program. Now, where I think he really got hurt is he had some severe health issues in the offseason. He got a new contract in the offseason. It wasn't that long ago where maybe one coach, his name was Nick Saban, was making north of $10 million a year. Now you've got several coaches making over $10 million a year because of the finances of college football. Deion Sanders at Colorado, which a few years ago didn't even have any NIL money, let alone wanted to pay their head coach more than $2-3 million a year. Now he's making 10.4, 10.5. But he wasn't able to recruit. So when you're sending the likes of and this is where the downside of having these coaches recruiting can come in. Warren Sapp, I've hung out with him a lot when I was on the board of directors for David Ortiz's charity a few years ago. And then it was more about not the charity than it was the charity. And we would go to the DR, and a lot of these big time athletes would come, and we had a blast. But I was there to save the kids. I was there to help raise money for the kids. And it's still alive, and I love David Ortiz. I don't work with him anymore, but I appreciated the time. But Warren Sapp was one of those guys that would show up. And he was kind of all over the place. So I hope for him, this is a great opportunity. I really, really do. But if you're another college and you're willing to do anything to get a player, and you're walking into a living room, you're going to use whatever negative about another competing university that you can. And that's easy, low-hanging fruit. Why would you want to go play there? They've got these guys. Instead of, hey, second chances. Deion's giving a lot of guys second chances. He believes in you. He will be a father figure. That's what Travis Hunter said. So now tonight, they can change a lot of that narrative with a win against Houston. I don't think it's going to be easy. They lost to Georgia Tech, who is part of our weekend college football show. We have them as part of our upset alert. I encourage you to watch that episode tomorrow morning. It'll be posted right around 10 a.m. Eastern time. We focus on 6 or 7 of the biggest games of the weekend. So they beat Colorado in week number 1. Then Colorado played Delaware and they won 31-7. I do not know how good Delaware is. I don't even think Delaware is a Division I team. I think they're FCS. So tonight's a big night at Houston, and for the Cougars at 2-0, whenever you're still undefeated, you're in a Power 5, you can start to have dreams. You can start to have thoughts. Hey, if we can go on a little bit of a roll, you just never know. Because right now, if you're talking about Houston and you look at their schedule, it's not exactly what you'd call a murderer's row, which is why we talk about Texas and Oklahoma and Texas A&M. Imagine if this was their schedule and not Houston. Imagine if this was Texas's schedule, which it could be if they would have stayed in the Big 12 or Oklahoma or A&M. This is what Houston has to play this year. They have a bye week after tonight. Bye week number 4. It's different than the NFL because of scheduling, and sometimes you have to take it. Oregon State, home to Texas Tech, conference game. Oklahoma State's terrible at Oklahoma State. Home to Arizona. Right now, Arizona is 2-0. They play tonight against Kansas State. And I keep forgetting, sometimes it has to hit me kind of out of the blue, that Kansas State, Arizona is a conference matchup. I always forget that Arizona is a Big 12 team now. They're no longer in the Pac-12. So you got Arizona at home. Then you go to Arizona State, home to West Virginia, at UCF, a Big 12 team, TCU at home, and then at Baylor. So there are a lot of conference games, and outside of Oregon State, everything else is a conference game, I think. So when you're 2-0, you still have dreams of making it to the Big 12 championship game. You still have dreams of perhaps the tens of millions of dollars that come with being a playoff team. But let's not put the cart in front of the horse. You got to beat Colorado tonight. You're laying 3.5. It's going to be interesting to see if Colorado has a subpar year now that Shadir is gone, now that Travis Hunter is gone. How long will the school be making money at a clip that would allow them to pay Deion over $50 million for the next 5 years? That begs the question. Are these celebrities still going to want to come to Boulder to watch these football games? That begs the question. Can he keep this fun ride going? Because it's fun for celebrities. You fly into Denver, maybe head up to Aspen, do a little skiing when it gets into October and November, catch the game, have Fox show you, have ESPN show you. It's fun. Makes you relative, makes you cool. You're on the sidelines. You're good. Colorado has to win at a certain clip, or all of these big money people are not going to want to give money to Colorado. It's just the way it is. That is just the way it is. So later tonight, so that Colorado Houston is 7:30. Then you have Kansas State, Arizona, and I really worried, and I don't know what the reason is. They're college kids, but they started their season over in Ireland against Iowa State. And they lost that game, I think, by 3 or by 7. And I know both coaches agreed to the game. And it's a great experience for college kids, and I get all of that. But when it comes to being successful and really getting into a groove and into a mode, having a 1-week trip to Ireland probably isn't the best thing for your kids. And if you look at the results, they're now 1-2. And their other loss came last week against the hard-charging Army cadets. I got a lot of respect for Army. I have a brother-in-law who was a lieutenant colonel in the Army. But when it comes to the football program, your one win is also over North Dakota by 3. So you've lost to Iowa State, you've lost to Army, and you beat North Dakota by 3, but allowed them to score 35 points. So why would you not play Arizona tonight? Arizona has looked the part. Week 1, Hawaii, they beat them 40-6. Last week, Weber State, 48-3 after a weather delay. They've allowed 9 points. They have scored 88. I think I'll take Arizona tonight. Sometimes when a team comes into a season and you think they're going to be this and they turn out to be that, especially in college football, from a betting perspective, sometimes we're a week or two behind. And that can cost you cold, hard cash. I am not touching Kansas State tonight with a 10-foot pole. One of the big issues that I've seen is that their quarterback, who's a dual threat, they are trying to turn him into a passer. And he is not a drop back passer. And then they get behind the sticks. Then they get behind on the scoreboard. Now he has to pass the ball. You can't have those 7-8 minute drives anymore. And you can see how they're built is not what they need. So it's going to be a fun, interesting, fascinating, and important Friday night coming out of the Big 12. Now, as many of you know, most of the big games this weekend in college football are in the SEC. You have Georgia and Tennessee. Georgia has won 8 straight in that matchup or in that rivalry, and all 8 have been by double digits. It's a 4-point spread according to BetMGM, and I just wonder if Tennessee can do anything different. They have a different quarterback who's played great football since Nico left and went to UCLA. And a little, I guess, poetic justice is tonight, New Mexico is playing UCLA. Nico will be playing quarterback tonight. UCLA has been horrible through the first 2 games. They got blown out by Utah. They had a competitive game against UNLV, but UNLV is not Georgia. And it's a sad state of affairs to me when you decide that your paycheck in college, and he was already making money at Tennessee, when your paycheck in college is more important than where you are playing. When I saw this story last year, I thought, no. And then I really believe that him and his family got way too out over their skis. And I believe they thought that there was going to be a lot of big time programs that would back up the Brinks truck and say, yeah, come play for us for $3 million a year. Yeah, we're just as good as Archie. He's making 6.5. We're a bargain. We're only $4 million. But that didn't happen. And UCLA, they came calling, but they said, we're not paying you 4, we'll pay you 2. I still even have an issue talking about these NIL deals as if they're contracts in the NFL. That's not what an NIL deal is. If you are marketable and you can be put in commercials, in endorsements, that's NIL, name, image, likeness. It's not, hey, we want you to play quarterback for us. Here's a $2 million contract for 1 season. That's not NIL. We've got so far away from what it truly is. If you're recruiting a guard or a tackle who nobody knows, but is pretty good, but you never see their face, why are you paying them $1 million a year to come to your school? That's where NIL has come now, is to be competitive, to feel like you are in the game. You've got to pay guys that you'll never see in a print ad, in a commercial, on the radio, doing autograph shows. Never. That's name, image, likeness. So Nico, New Mexico tonight at, I believe it's 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 out here in California. And then he's going to have to watch his old school, and maybe he doesn't care. And if he doesn't care, that's even a sadder state of affairs, because you only get to play once. And I know believe me, I would love to make millions of dollars when I was in college. But if you're as good as you think you are, and Nico really believes he is a future NFL quarterback, then that money will come. But none of them are willing to bet on themselves. So they take the check and they leave the big time school. And that's what Nico has done. So Nico's playing for a team that week 1 got beat 43-10. by Utah, really good school. And then week 2, they got beat by UNLV 30-23. When he could be getting ready to play Georgia this week to really test your skills, to really put yourself out there. And I think I'm just tired. I'm just because all the content I do, all the places that I either work for or I cover, everything is about the last dime possible. Nobody just talks about the game anymore. They talk about the price, the tickets, the how much are the players getting paid instead of, man, I got a chance to play against Georgia. I got a chance to play against Tennessee. But instead, I'll take $2 million, which, by the way, he was making 1.5 at Tennessee already. It wasn't like it was that much more to go to UCLA. And oh, by the way, if they have a great year this year, what do you think his parents would have done? He would have gone to Tennessee very quietly and asked for more money. Hey, we just brought you 20 million because we got your team to the playoffs. We want more. And they would have paid him. But that doesn't happen because kids do not want to bet on themselves. They don't want to take any chances. It is so frustrating. But that's what these kids want to do. Oh, by the way, the NCAA very quietly this week. I'm not sure if all of you out there saw this, but I love this idea. And some of the higher echelon coaches who have teams that play in the playoffs, they don't like this idea. But there are 2 different transfer portal windows right now. There's one that's right after the first of the year, it was in December. So a lot of kids had to declare for the portal before their bowl games. And what happened was they didn't want to get hurt in the bowl games, so they either wouldn't play because they were going into the portal or they were declaring for the NFL draft. Well, now they're talking about just one portal window because some of these kids could play if they're in the playoffs because they don't want to sit out the playoffs because that's such a bad look because then you literally are telling everybody, I'm just playing for my check. And nobody wants to have a player like that go to a Georgia, go, no, I'm going to sit out. I'm good, which is what happened in the bowl game last year with Florida State when Georgia beat them by 70. So you got to fix that. And you got a lot of smart people that are running this, and they can't figure that out. It's 101. It's easy. So what they're proposing is from January 2nd to January 12th, that will be the one and only transfer portal window. Now, Ryan Day is like, wait a second. What if I'm getting ready for a college football semi? Because that's the day after the quarterfinals are played. January 1st moving forward is awesome. You get 4 playoff games on January 1st. So they don't like it, though. They're like, how am I supposed to know when I'm trying to get my team ready? Well, that is your problem. That's a you problem. And I'm sure there's a lot of coaches out there, Ryan Day, that would love to have that issue that you have at Ohio State. To me, the transfer portal shouldn't be the most important thing, but it is. Most college coaches aren't even going to high schools. You got to be elite high school talent for them to recruit you and give you a 4-year contract, a 4-year scholarship. They're going to the portal now. And if you're a really good player at a lower Division I or an FCS, boom, your butt's in that portal so quick to either get a full ride or B, to play for an upper echelon team. That's how it works now. It's almost like small D1s are turning into JUCOs because nobody goes to a small D1 and says, oh, I'm going to stay here for 4 years, even if I become an All-American. You never see that anymore, ever. And that's a sad state of affairs. I want the transfer portal to turn into one transfer. That's it. You want to transfer? You can do it once. We're watching guys every Saturday, and you hear the announcers go, well, he started his career at Oregon State, then he transferred to New Mexico, and now he ends up at LSU. And really, in his 4th year, 3 schools, now he finds himself they're doing it all the time. All right, a gentle reminder. Full episode, 15, 20 minutes tomorrow morning, breaking down all of the college football games. Then we are live on our Coach and Company YouTube page on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, getting ready for all the big games in the NFL. And then on Monday night, it is a Monday night grind, our special Monday night show, free for everybody. We will be adding other primetime shows when we are just kind of free, sitting at home, nothing else to do. So we encourage you to become a premium member. You get a separate episode every single morning, and then also you get other stuff as well. So please come be a part of what we're doing. All right, that's going to do it for now. I'll see you this afternoon on Sirius XM channel 156 for Off the Ropes. For producer man behind the scenes, I am simply the coach. This has been the Coach and Company podcast. Have a great day.